Well, you guys seem to really enjoy my short form video I made talking about why I quit playing Stalker 2 and uninstalled it, but still have high hopes for it. And after seeing the recent patches that have gone live for it, doing a bunch of little fixes here and there, I don't really know if it's going to be enough for me to come back to the game. And I don't know if Stalker 2 will ever be its true self that it's meaning to be. In the short, I referenced three main reasons why I stopped playing. One was because of the performance, two because of the bugs, and three because A-Life isn't working. And we'll go into A-Life, what it is, later in the video. I think it's easy to see that, yeah, Stalker 2 was just not ready for release. Now, the mad lads over at Digital Foundry went into the details as they normally do when it comes to the performance of this game, which was a big issue for me when I tried to play, because for a single player type of game like Stalker 2, I like to crank up the graphics. I like to be immersed in the world. I like to experience what the world has to offer at high quality. When it comes to like a shooter game, I don't mind dumbing down the graphics because I look for performance. I'm looking for immersion. I'm looking for diving into this world right now. And while what is there looks really good, I mean, Unreal Engine is looking amazing for Stalker 2, but the performance is just an issue. You can see right here with this Digital Foundry video, they're utilizing like a highest of high-end computers right now and running with decent frame rate. But for me and for majority of people, we can't afford that or have that type of system. Like when you go into a city, oh my God, the frame drops are insane. Like I'm not looking for high performance. I'm like 60 frames at like 1440p and like medium settings even, I'd be happy with that. But that's even a struggle to try to accomplish in this game. Like even running, like you see at 4090, that you're getting sub 50 frames. Again, this is on ultra, right? High end graphics and epic, but like when you have the high end tier quality hardware, you're expecting the high tier level of performance, and you can barely get that in Stalker 2. And I don't even know that's really going to be something that you can fix when the game like this, especially with a big issue when it comes to the performance of this game, cited as in the NPCs. The more NPCs you have on the screen, the tanks your system and tanks your FPS so much more than you would actually expect to see it happen. Showcased here in this segment from Digital Foundry, showcasing like, yeah, you're maintaining 60 frames in this small tiny room, but when there's a lot of NPCs in a small area, like there's not a whole lot being, you know, graphically intensive right here. A lot of very basic geometric shapes. But when you have a lot of NPCs in one location, your performance is limited by the CPU heavy NPCs that are in the game. Which kind of leads you into the next topic, which really kind of ties it all together again when it comes to the performance, is A-Life. If you guys don't know what A-Life is, it's basically the way Stalker 2 handles their AI within the game. It's something a little bit more advanced, a little more nuanced than typical NPCs. The NPCs in Stalker 2, they maneuver throughout the map, they patrol areas, they actually complete quests and things like that. Like they're actually doing things in the world, not just standing around waiting for the player to interact with them. Reminds me of this video I made a while ago. You might see some weird edits happening right here because I'm just watching it from YouTube, about when I played Redfall, right after the big patch. You can just see like how the NPCs here are just kind of standing around, just doing nothing. They're just standing there waiting for the player to engage with them, to then go into their different sequences, right? My big fat face right there looks so weird, but you get the idea of what I'm talking about, where that's the really cool thing about Stalker 2 is like how they handle their AI. Now, I have not played a Stalker 2 game before, but it seems to be a really crucial aspect of it. Like if that's how they handle AI in a previous game, you would think they want to carry that over, because in a game where it's a single player game, playing against enemy combatants and NPCs is a really big freaking deal to get down correctly. And right now, how it's working in Stalker 2 is they're kind of just working like normal NPCs. They're not working like A-Life NPCs, like Stalker NPCs. In this article here from IGN with GSC, the people who made Stalker 2, explains the first time what went wrong with A-Life 2.0 and why it was removed from the game's description on Steam. And looking through this article, basically what happened is that they saw that with these NPCs with this high intelligence, that really it was a huge tax onto the system when it comes to playing for what they wanted to do for A-Life 2. So to avoid any form of false advertising, they had to completely remove it from the Steam description and the game. So right now your NPCs in Stalker are just kind of acting like regular NPCs and not really anything unique or different, which isn't something I was really expecting, but it seems like it's kind of not reaching its full potential of what the game could truly be. But with the current state of the performance of Stalker 2, and I really really don't see that improving much over the course of, say, like a year or something like that. I don't really ever see A-Life 2.0 coming to Stalker 2. Now, I really hope it does, because I want this game to truly be the vision that they wanted it to be, because it seems like such an interesting game. Something I wanted to jump in and play. But when I jumped in and started playing it, I was like, man, this is kind of tough. Which led me to my third point of why I stopped playing Stalker 2, and it's because of the bugs. Now, I'm not unfamiliar with bugs being in a game. Like, it's a thing that happens with modern gaming, especially when you can rely on just patching the game post-launch, get the minimum viable product out there so people can start playing the game and get their hands in and actually just start enjoying it. And what's there in Stalker 2 is really good. People are really enjoying it. And, I only was able to put like an hour or two into it until I was just like, I kind of put my hands up. I was like, I'm gonna wait. Like, I don't have any rush to play Stalker 2. I don't have a need to play Stalker 2. I just really want to, but I can want to play it a little bit later. That's the huge benefit of playing these story-based single-player type of games, that you can play the game right now, or you can play the game in a year or two later, and it's still going to be the same type of experience. It's not like an online game, right? Which requires people to be online all at the same time for the game to function properly. That's kind of why we saw XDefiant recently get shut down, because the player base was just so low. And GSC have been cooking when it comes to fixing the game and making it play a lot better. Spoiler on the article even talked about saying Stalker 2 has been patched roughly every 2 business days since the launch. Like, clearly this game was not ready for release, and the fact that they did really just kind of shows why they released it. Like, we all know it's for profit, right? Microsoft needed to have another boost when it comes to their quarterly earnings, right? Just Black Ops alone, which was significant, I'm sure it was tallied into the overall profits that they wanted to make for this quarter, and they were hoping to do the same thing with Stalker 2, as a lot of people really wanted to play this. It was a highly anticipated game. But from my experience, and it seems like for many other people, that it's just been a very buggy game, and they're slowly working on fixing the whole thing up. My initial experience within the first like 5-10 minutes of playing the game is like when I first started to walk around through the open world of Stalker 2, which was super detailed, looked amazing at 45 frames right a second, that my opacity of my UI just went down to like 2% for whatever reason mid gameplay. Don't know why, so I had to like go out of my experience to kind of figure out like, okay, how do I turn this off and on kind of thing, how do I get it to work again. So basically I just had to like kind of close the game, open it back up, and start playing again. But that's the problem though, like when you're playing like a single player game, you want to be immersed in the world, you want to be immersed in the experience of playing the game. And when you're having literal game issues, like for me it was like the opacity of the UI having its issues. I mean, of course, like also seeing like the online clips as well of people showcasing like NPCs walking through a doorway and just dying, or just really weird things that happen within the world. Like apparently they're called anomalies in the community, right? That like soccer games have been known to be a little buggy, and I can get through like a bug here or there, but when it's like something that really affects like me being able to function in the game, that's where I go like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait it out a little bit and just wait until it's patched up enough, like wait to a few more couple business days, right, of patches before I actually jump in and start really diving into Stalker 2. Another weird thing when it comes to bugs for Stalker 2, I didn't even know this was a bug, or if it was just like negligence or just something that got left on, went under the radar, but like mouse acceleration and mouse smoothing were left on by default. Like you couldn't actually turn that off. Now you can actually turn that off with a recent patch, but the thing is like, there's so few people out there who use mouse acceleration and mouse smoothing when it comes to playing on mouse and keyboard like I am as a PC player. So that it's just like stuff like that. I'm like, what? Like that's how you shoot in the game, man. Like that's how the direct one-to-one experience feels when playing. And yeah, it felt really off. It felt really weird. It felt really floaty, and like it didn't have like that one-to-one connection with my character, which is absolutely crucial for a shooter game. And the fourth special point for all your long form viewers out there, I appreciate you guys clicking on this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to tap like and all that stuff. But yeah, the fourth point of why I uninstalled and stopped playing Stalker 2 is really just because I'm tired. I'm so tired of modern games releasing in such rough states that they are playable. Yes, you can download them, you can get through the game and play them. Some bugs you couldn't even finish the game at launch, but like you can play it. Is it an enjoyable experience? From my initial reaction, no. Which then for me begs the question, like, is at putting that extra time to fixing Stalker 2 worth it, right? Like we always hear like, oh, they'll just patch it up and it'll be good later on, right? Well, like we saw with many games this year, right? Like with, for the first thing that comes to mind is Concord, right? Obviously a completely different game, right? But the thing is that like no one wanted Concord, and when it released, it was actually good, but no one really cared for it. Like it released well, I should say. Like it functioned properly as intended. The problem was that the game was just kind of boring and no one really cared. It was horribly uninspired. So there was no want from the player base. So why fix that game? Compare that to like Cyberpunk 2077, right? There was a huge want and desire for a game like this. We never had like a Cyberpunk open world type of game like Cyberpunk 2077. And so it was worth putting that time into it because they saw that their interest from the player base was there and still was there even at the time of release when that launch was, oh boy, that was a rough launch for sure. But now that CD Projekt Red have put the time in, fixed up the game, added in a bunch of extra features, and made the game into something incredibly special. And so I went like, you know what? I'm just gonna stop playing Stalker 2, wait for it to fully get released and, actually released and updated and patched and fixed up to be the best version it could possibly be, because my time is limited, man. I got a job, I got a wife, I got a house I gotta take care of, I got family, I got friends, I don't have that much time to kind of power through a rough gaming situation, right? I'll just wait, because it's the benefit of playing single player games, right? And so I was like, you know what? I've never actually finished Cyberpunk 2077, so I'm just gonna go and just play a playthrough of that. And so far, it's been great. So is Stalker 2 something really worth diving into and fixing up? I would say yes. Like, it's a really cool premise, right? And the previous Stalker games are fan favorites. There's a dedicated audience of fans who will continue to play Stalker games. And for me, as someone who's a new person to the franchise, I would really like to see this game get fixed up, because we don't really see very many games like this, right? Like, it has like that grounded, gritty element to it. It almost felt like it was going to be like a survival Tarkov-like shooter kind of thing, but like for single player experiences. But then you throw this whole like sci-fi anomaly type of thing on top with that as well, with like some crazy monster creatures and some amazing graphics and good gunplay and stuff like that. Like I'm all for it. Like I really want to play Stalker 2, but I'm just gonna wait until it's an experience that I feel like it's something worth playing for me. Are you still playing Stalker 2, or are you uninstalled it, or just waiting for patches? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this type of video, make sure to tap like, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.